I started in 1983 at Gibson Dunn as a corporate lawyer, and I did that for a number of years before running the corporate practice at Catt & Muchin in Los Angeles. At some point, I realized it was time to head out of the big firm environment and focus on building my own practice aimed at the middle market, where we had essentially lower overhead, big firm trained lawyers going after that market in a more common sense approach to offer an alternative. I started Baer&Troff because I thought there was a niche opportunity in Los Angeles for big firm trained lawyers to offer a common sense approach to practicing law and essentially giving people an alternative that wanted to do sophisticated legal work, but to do it in a little more informal setting and to offer an alternative to the big firms where essentially the best and the brightest generally congregate. I started Baer&Troff because I thought there was an opportunity to go after the middle market with big firm trained lawyers that essentially could offer a common sense solution with lower overhead and compete head to head with the big firms. Middle market companies, if they're doing a $1 billion M&A deal, may need a big firm, but most transactions in Los Angeles, which is a middle market environment, don't need the big firm. And so this was essentially my attempt at giving people an alternative. Baer&Troff offers several different areas. Primarily we focus on corporate work and litigation for the corporate market, but what we really do is solve challenges for the middle market and for entrepreneurs. And so whether or not it's a real estate issue, a corporate issue, or a litigation issue, if you come to us and we're not the right people, we have no problem making a referral, but we're pretty good at solving those solutions and challenges for the middle market. So it's primarily a corporate firm, but we do sophisticated litigation and real estate work as well. Although Baer&Troff doesn't have what I would describe as a typical client, I think we do attract people that are looking for value and that want to partner with somebody that gives them a common sense solution. I often describe myself as $1 million a year general counsel that you don't have to pay $1 million to because you can get us on an hourly basis. So we become part of the family, part of the team, and we can give you creative solutions, but you don't need us full time. And so we're available in that perspective. Who's attracted to Baer&Troff? Typically people that are entrepreneurial, value oriented, and that want a common sense solution. I wouldn't say we have a typical client, but I think people that are looking for us are looking for a common sense solution. I haven't described myself as $1 million a year general counsel that you don't have to pay $1 million for, but we're there when you need us, and essentially you look at us as a partner, you can look at us as part of your family, but people that come to us are looking for a common sense solution. They're not looking for high overhead, they're not looking for a prestige, they're looking for somebody that's going to really add value and be there for them when they need you. What I think makes our firm unique is that we really are a bunch of people who are big firm trained with a lot of experience, but who offer common sense solutions. Common sense is not all that common, and I think that we work well, we play well together, and we care about our clients. Yes, we want to make money. That is part of why we're doing what we're doing, but we also care about the people we're working with. Clients don't last a long time if their culture doesn't fit in with ours. If we don't care about you, it's typically going to work its way out pretty soon and you're going to go somewhere else. So I think what makes us unique essentially is that we're not all about the buck. Yes, we want to get paid and we want to add value, but we're really here to essentially be the right partner for our clients. I think one of the things that makes us different from other law firms is that lawyers are often pigeonholed as being very conservative and seeing the world as black and white. I think we're more business oriented, a little more common sense oriented, and we understand what our clients' needs are. So we're not in an ivory tower just saying this is what the law is and do it our way or this is the highway. We're trying to come up with, in the real world, how do you get something done? How do we do it in an ethical way, in a legal way, but at the same time recognize you have a business to run and you have profit to make, and you can't always, you don't want to hear a professorial answer to something. You want to hear a practical solution.
Excellent. That's a really good one. That's great. What are some of the principles that you believe are important in your law firm?
I think people lately are talking more about honesty, and I read an article recently about how when we were children, one of the things that people were talked about was I cannot tell a lie, I chop down the cherry tree. And I think, whether or not you're a Republican or a Democrat, I think it goes without saying that people are focused on ethics right now and they're focused on honesty and so forth. I don't think that's just something you talk about. I think it's something you live, and I think that at the end of the day, we are fiduciaries, we are lawyers, we're there to protect our clients, and so our word means something, and we expect our clients' words to mean something as well, because I think that you can write a contract, but at the end of the day, your reputation is what's the most important. And yes, people do need contracts because we live in that kind of world, but at the end of the day, I don't care what the paper says, it's your relationship with people that's going to make the biggest difference. I believe that one of the most important things for our firm is that our word means something, and people are talking more and more about, I cannot tell a lie, I chop down the cherry tree, and the question is, does our word mean anything, and false news and all the rest. And I think as lawyers especially, we have to be cognizant that what we say means something and that people are paying attention. And you can have a contract that says a lot of different things, but at the end of the day, and you do need a good contract, at the end of the day, your relationship with your partners and with your clients and with your customers is extremely important. And so we model that, and I do take it seriously. I think what really makes our firm unique is that we don't overpromise, we try to exceed clients' expectations, and we mean what we say and we say what we mean. We mean what we say, we don't overpromise, we say what we mean what we say, we're ethical, we take it seriously, we don't overpromise, we'd rather exceed our clients' expectations rather than meet our clients' expectations. And again, one of my favorite lines is, we mean what we say and we see what we mean, and we're here essentially to exceed your expectations, not just meet your expectations. There are a lot of lawyers, and the real question is, what makes you different? And I've been doing this for 30 years, so what gets me up in the morning, and why am I excited to be a lawyer? What makes me excited is not that I can sit at a desk and draft a contract better than somebody else. I have people that do that. What makes me different than other people is I'm a strategic thinker, I'm a chess player, I'm a poker player. I can get people from A to B, and essentially I know how to avoid the landmines, I've got good common sense, I've got experience, and so I don't want to work with somebody that just needs a simple contract. They can go anywhere. Where I most come alive and where I really add value is where somebody says, look, this is a mess, how do we fix it? More and more of my VC clients, middle market clients are saying, look, anybody can do a Series A round, but we go to Jim when we have a complex issue and we want a practical solution, because he's not only a lawyer, he's a businessman, he gets it. And I think that that's what my gift is. That when I was a lawyer initially, I wasn't in love with the law. I was in love with solving challenges for people, and that's what's fun for me. It's not fun for me to sit and just write a form contract. Again, we have people that can do that, but what adds value and why you come to us is because we're going to really come up with a creative solution to something. And we can see the challenges along the line and help you avoid hitting those bumps.
Don't make faces at me. But I think I got it enough that I can cut it. That was great.
Yeah, that was great. I mean, do you have anything else?
Yeah, I can keep on. I have fun with my clients, not saying I told you so, but I'm pretty good at predicting where things go, and I'm not a miracle guy, but when you do things for a long time, you either get really good at it or you don't. And like Sully landed that plane on the Hudson, I land planes on the Hudson, but in a totally different arena. I do it because people come to me and they haven't been in a situation before. They're being threatened with a lawsuit. They're selling their company. They're raising money. And they have something that seems like this daunting task before them. Oh my God, how do we land the plane on the Hudson? And the answer is, dude, just relax. I got you. I'll get this plane landed. Here's how we're going to do it. And it's because there's nothing I haven't seen. I mean, being at big firms and then being on my own for a long time, I'm an entrepreneur. I've seen things. I've worked with billion-dollar companies and I've worked with $100,000 companies. And at the end of the day, I will get the plane landed on the Hudson. And we'll get everybody off the plane. Caitlin will get everybody off the plane. My team will get everybody off the plane. We will do it. You won't drown. You may feel like you're drowning, but you won't drown.
And you might want to add that you care about your clients.
I do care about my clients,
So
but I will
just-
tell you one thing, I don't want to work for free.
Wait,
I'm
start
pretty
with-
tough about getting my clients to pay my bills, by the way.
Start about.
I care about my clients, and we do give people an honest day's work, and we don't pad our time. We're very ethical about how we bill, and you get value. I never have fights with my clients about bills, but I will tell people if they're not going to pay me, I'd rather just go to a movie. So, at the end of the day, we do expect to get paid for what we do, but we don't surprise people. We keep them informed as we go. You're going to get an estimate. You're going to be kept informed of what's going on. And if at the end of the day you don't think you got value, we're going to work it out. But we do want to be treated fairly, and I can see when I'm being taken advantage of. If you're not going to pay me, that's not okay. And by the same token, you want me 24/7, I'll be there 24/7, but you're going to have to treat us with respect. We're not a firm to work with if you're not going to treat us with respect. You want us to treat you with respect, we want to be treated with respect. At the end of the day, it is a business. We like being lawyers. It's fun.
I like when Jim freestyles. Okay. At what point?
Most people compare us to the firm. I don't know if you know Tom Cruise, but a lot of people compare me to Tom Cruise. Because why? At the end of the day, once you join this place, you are not getting out of here alive. You become a member of the team. You become a member of the family. And if you think you're going to leave the firm, think again, okay? So at the end of the day, our clients we'll kill for because we will kill to keep our employees here. And I've never had anybody leave alive. I can't sing or dance, but I know how to avoid landmines and how to counsel people into setting up their companies properly. And when people don't seek counsel early on and they go down a path, I can fix it, but inevitably, because you don't know what you're doing, because you haven't done it 10 times before, you're going to make certain mistakes. And so it's better to get counsel earlier to avoid setting something up which may have adverse tax consequences, may have all sorts of, tax is a big one. The other one is you can't unring a bell in certain instances. So having things documented so that if there's a disagreement, people don't go into marriages or into partnerships or businesses assuming they're going to get divorced. If everything goes well, you don't need a contract. But things do go wrong, whether or not somebody goes through a divorce, somebody gets angry, somebody's not carrying their fair share. If you document it up front, you can avoid those misunderstandings down the road.
What are some of the benefits to working with a smaller boutique firm?
I think one of the advantages of working with a good middle market firm is you're not paying for the overhead of a big stodgy firm, and you also get an honest, much more efficient hour out of people. The big firms tend to train people on your dime, and for big deals that's okay, but people have to bill hours at big firms to cover that overhead, and there's an hours quota. So there's a tendency to work on things and over lawyer things, whereas we tend to be a little more entrepreneurial, a little more lean and mean. You'll get what you need, but you won't get more than you need. When I was a young lawyer, it was fun to call up my mother and saying I was representing the President of the United States. When Gerald Ford was on the board of Tiger International, we represented the special committee, and that was fun. But I generally work with people that are bright and interesting and that are good people. And so over the years, I've had a lot of interesting clients. I've represented hospitals, I've represented entertainers, I've represented entertainment companies, I've represented software companies, apparel companies, food companies. It's a gamut, and there isn't any one story that stands out. I basically like being able to solve challenges for my clients. It was fun when I was a young lawyer saying I represented Gerald Ford when he was on the board of Tiger International. I've had a lot of luck in my career. I've worked with a lot of different people, whether or not it's entertainers or politicians or hospitals or apparel companies or technology companies or food companies. I've really had a cross-section of clients, and there's no one client that stands out. One fun story for me was when I was at Cat & Muchin, I had a client walk into my office who we had been giving an office to that had moved out from Chicago. And he came into my office and he said, hey, let's have lunch. So we had lunch. And when we're having lunch, he said, I'm thinking about forming this partnership. Can you help me with it? I said, sure. He says, yeah, well, it's Lee Iacocca. So the next thing I know, I just met this guy. I'm doing a partnership for him and Lee Iacocca. Fast forward 10 years later, he's like, yeah, I'm going into the internet business. I'm going to do something with Ideal Capital Partners. And so the next thing I know, he's raising a $100 million fund to do funding for the internet with Bill Gross. So you never know where your clients will come from. You don't know how long they'll be your clients or what they'll do. But I'm a relationship person, and a lot of my clients I've known for 20 years, and some of my clients I've just known for 6 months. But at the end of the day, it's fun when you build these relationships and you see them go through their maturation, so to speak. One question that comes up a lot is, do I form a Delaware corporation or do I form a California corporation? If you're just doing a mom and pop little company, there's nothing wrong with just using a California corporation, and then you don't have to spend the extra fees to qualify in Delaware. On the other hand, if you're going to go out and potentially raise money, or you're going to go out and go public at some point, there's a huge advantage to using a Delaware corporation because Delaware's case law is so well defined. The judges are very pro-business, they understand it, and so you get much more efficiency from being a Delaware corporation. In the area of litigation, people hire litigators, and litigators are paid to fight. And what I do, and I manage a lot of complex litigation, is I approach it from a business person's perspective. So when you come to me, even though it may not be in my financial interest to settle a case, because at the end of the day, if you settle a case, you're no longer running up legal fees, I look at it from a relationship perspective. So oftentimes litigators don't have business common sense, but corporate lawyers do. And so when you come to me, I do the strategic analysis and I put a value on a case, and I'm not approaching it from an emotional perspective. And wouldn't it be better to settle a case for $100,000 than run up a $100,000 legal bill and then settle it for $100,000? Litigation is a business, and you need to approach it from a business perspective, and not enough people do. So rather than go out and hire a litigator who's, quote, paid to fight, number two, who's going to be asked to settle a case against his or her financial interests, use me as your general counsel strategist so that I manage the litigation and we approach it from a business common sense solution. One case I had was where a law firm ran up a $2 million bill for a client. The client didn't have the $2 million to pay. The client was not told they should settle. The client got a $5 million judgment against him. The client was going to have to file bankruptcy. And the law firm was left with a $2 million bill without having given proper advice to settle the case, and the client wasn't even able to pay it. So I was able to write the $2 million off for the client and negotiate out of that, but the whole thing could have been avoided if early on the client had said, hey, what are my options? And the law firm had said, settle the damn case. And if they didn't settle, that's one thing, but in this situation, it was not, common sense was not used. I think the biggest difference between transactional law and litigation is that transactional lawyers are generally negotiating contracts, and the timetables are imposed to try to get a deal done, and they're usually collaborative process, whereas litigation can also often be very adversarial, and you're dealing with courts, you're dealing with filing papers, you're dealing with a totally different arena. It's not the greatest thing in the world, but one of the mistakes I think law firms make is that they don't just focus on having the best and the brightest, and our approach is that you have to be really bright, you have to be willing to work hard. Yes, there's more of a balance here than you're going to have at a big firm, but at the end of the day, the people here are extremely bright, they're motivated, they're hardworking, they're ethical, and they're team players. How do you pick the right lawyer? Okay, if you want to get a good deal on a car, you go to a car dealership, you look at the cars, you go talk to a few different car dealerships, you ask for some prices, and at the end of the day, you take it for a test drive. You don't take a lawyer for a test drive, so how the heck do you know you're finding the right lawyer? I was amazed when I worked at a firm, which will go nameless at this point, when they were hiring lawyers without checking references. At the end of the day, if you're going to hire a lawyer, check references. Find out what people think of the person, for God's sakes. Find out if it's going to be the right fit for you. It's an important relationship, because at the end of the day, it's not about just getting a bill. It is whether or not they added value. And it's not just kind of seeing how to get from A to B. It's knowing where the hockey puck is going and anticipating that, and then helping essentially steer the ship in that direction. And the only way you're going to find out if the lawyer is the right person for you is not just to go on somebody's website and see a blurb, but actually find people that you respect and find somebody that's worked with that lawyer and that can tell you what they're like to work with. Do your homework. I mean, it's an important decision. If you're going to, if you're having heart surgery, let's go. Marketing as a lawyer, there are lawyers that will, for instance, put a sign up and say, PI lawyer, call 1-800, sue. We're not like that. I learned a long time ago that I can't market in a traditional sense, because it's like If you're going to have heart surgery and you're going to Cedars-Sinai for heart surgery, you're not going to find that person in the yellow pages. You're going to ask people and say, how do I find a heart surgeon? And at the end of the day, you find somebody that's got a good track record and that kept the patient alive. Why am I even doing this? You want to be able to see who you're hiring. At the end of the day, don't take my word for it. Ask people that have worked with me. Find out what I've worked on. Find out if it's going to be the right fit. But by the same token, this gives you a sense of who we are, because a picture is worth 1,000 words. And so you can read my biography. It's not alive. At the end of the day, you want to get to know your person you're working with. Meet them in person. Go shake their hand. Look them in the eye. See if they're looking around or looking at you. Seeing if they really care. I remember when my dad had cancer and I went to the doctor and the guy was making a golf reservation. Checked it off the list. If you're not going to be important to us, we're not the right people for you. The LA venture market has changed a lot since 1998, and when it started, in 2001, when things blew up, it was ugly. Silicon Beach, I didn't love the name at first, but LA is here to stay. We have a real thriving practice. You've got lawyers that are good at this. You've got great VCs now. When I started, there were 3 real VCs in LA. You've got seasoned professionals. You've got good accountants. You've got good lawyers. You've got good PR people, you've got infrastructure, you've got companies that have exited successfully. This is a real thriving market. We can give Silicon Valley a run for its money. We were talking about convergence in the 90s. It took a long time to happen, but all of a sudden you've got this energy in LA, you've got this creativity, you've got large companies, small companies, you got everything right in here in your backyard. And again, you don't need to find somebody that just has been doing this for 6 months. There are seasoned professionals that have been doing this now for 15 or 20 years. I mean, it really has evolved. We are here to stay. When I was a VC lawyer early on in 1998, the LA market wasn't thriving. I mean, in 2001, when the dot-coms blew up, it was over for a long time. What I've seen reemerge in the last 10 years has been shocking. We all of a sudden are here to stay. There's this thriving Silicon Beach environment. You've got great lawyers, you've got great accountants, you've got amazing VCs. You don't have to go up north. It's all here in Southern California. And it's really evolved into a thriving market. There's a lot of great exits now that have taken place. There's smart entrepreneurs, there's infrastructure. There really is an opportunity to grow your company here, to find the right team so you're getting the right source of legal advice, you're getting the right source of accounting advice, you're getting the right VCs in board, you can put a board together, you can find the right management together, you've got great housing opportunities. Yeah, it's expensive, but you got the weather. This is Southern California. You got all the beautiful people, you got great cars, you got great restaurants. It's a great place to be, and it wasn't always like this. It really has changed in the last 10 years. It's fun to be a lawyer in LA. Baer&Troff is different than other law firms because we are entrepreneurial, and the lawyers that work here are common sense driven. They're trained, they're big firm trained, they're smart, they're assertive, not overly aggressive, and we're really.
Do it again.
Oh, I know. Just so. How the hell? I know. I'm just thinking of how to jump into this thing. Okay, I'm going to do it. Baer&Troff is different from our competitors because we walk our talk. And at the end of the day, lawyers are not typically common sense driven people. They tend to over lawyer things. They're focused on dotting the I's and crossing the T's, and all of that's important. But at the end of the day, if you don't understand that people have a business to run and they need practical common sense solutions, you're not going to be happy. And at the end of the day, the people that work here, the people are trained from day one to focus on being good lawyers and protecting their clients, but also offering a common sense solution. If you're looking for a bunch of conservative, nerdy lawyers, this is not the place to go. Our people are trained to walk and chew gum at the same time, to be partners with our clients, to essentially offer a common sense solution. We're consigliaries to our clients, and we're not here to just hear ourselves talk. We're here to kind of get in the trenches with you and help you solve the challenges that you're facing. And early on, I learned when you have a client that's paying you a lot of money, you don't walk into a meeting and say, oh my God, I don't know what to do. This is really a difficult problem. No, you walk in, you've thought about it, and you say, look, we don't have all the answers, but we understand this is a challenge, and here's how we're going to get you from A to B. And if we need time to do the research, we'll do the research. But we come up with practical solutions. You're not going to last at this firm if you want to hear yourself talk and you want to over-lawyer something. You're going to last at this firm when you add common sense practical solutions to clients. When you exceed their expectations, when you don't overbill them, when you come up with practical things on a timely basis. You return your phone call to your client the same day you get it, hopefully within the hour. You check your emails, you're responsive, you recognize you're in a service business, you recognize that we work for our clients, not the other way around. And at the end of the day, if you don't get that, this isn't the place to be. Baer&Troff's mission statement is different than your typical law firm in that we're one, designed to add value, exceed your expectations, come up with a common sense solution, not over lawyer things, and essentially partner with you and basically get the long-term relationship. If at the end of the day you don't feel like you got value, we'll write the bill down. At the end of the day, we want people that are going to treat us fairly and that we will treat fairly. And we want those referrals, we want the long-term relationships, we want the win-win approach, we want an ethical approach, we want you to trust us, we want you to come with us because you want us to solve your challenges, to help you avoid running up excessive legal bills, because you're really looking for somebody that's your friend, that's your practical partner, that's going to give you a common sense approach to things. What's unique about Baer&Troff is that the model historically has been that the best and the brightest lawyers are at the big law firms, and that's where the money is, and that's where the opportunity is, and that's where the big sexy work is. But you know something? That's not where it has to be. We've attracted a team of lawyers who want to do quality work, who are smart as hell, but at the end of the day do want a little bit of a balance in their life. They do want lower overhead. They do want a little practicality. I mean, let's look at the world from a different perspective. It's more of a millennial world now. You got people working at home. You got people that are doing virtual law firms. But at the end of the day, we will not sacrifice quality. At the end of the day, we are going to be the smartest people you've ever worked with. And at the end of the day, that's what's important. People are not looking for ambulance chasers when they come to us. They're coming to us because we're a value proposition. We're doing sophisticated work. At the end of the day, if you just want some lawyer for $300 an hour to do simple work for you, we're not that place to go. We're the place to go where you want the best and the brightest, but you don't need a 1,000-lawyer law firm. What you want is quality. You want people that have been experts in that area. We are savants in the middle market, VC, M&A, practical solutions to the middle market. There is nobody better than us in that arena. And again, we're not for everybody. Some people have to have that large 1,000-person law firm. If that's what you're looking for, there are great alternatives in Los Angeles. But if you're looking for common sense solutions and you're looking for somebody to be there for you in the middle market, there is no team in LA that's going to be as efficient, that's going to be as smart and as strategic as Baer&Troff.